Okay, one of these days I'm just gonna run out of like pajamas and or shirt combination, and you're just gonna have to accept that, YouTube. Just know that I'm bathing in between these recordings, and that there's been so much time that, like, honestly, if I wasn't, that'd be absolutely disturbing. So yeah, all right, cool. Okay, so what is this recording about? Well, I haven't really decided, and I'm just gonna kind of spitball ideas until I come up with one that I actually like. Um, yeah, I haven't done one of those videos yet, so I guess I could do it. Okay, I've decided. It's been 40 seconds or so, and I've decided that this video will be about my top 10 list. And considering who's currently in the finals, I think it's pretty cool that we'll talk about this. Now, my top 10 obviously right now is going to be not concrete because things can move around depending on how Steph Curry plays. By the way, this is my top 10 all-time list. In this particular order, just for these two, it's 1A is Jordan, 1B is Braun. And this is gonna sound weird. Okay. Alright? It's a list based on greatness. Okay, so keep that in mind because this list can shape any so way depending on how everything goes on with this finals and depending on how Steph Curry goes. Okay? Cool. Just so we're clear, the rest of the guys on this list, in any particular order that you feel comfortable with, because honestly, I flip flop for wherever I want. All right, the next guy is Magic, and then below Magic, and I mean this for sure from what I believe, Kareem is under Magic, and then under Kareem, I have Duncan, Shaq, Kobe, Bird. All right. So just to be sure, these are how I see it. I think everyone's top 10 has these players in it, to be honest, and they can go wherever they want, right? I said Jordan. I said Braun. I said Magic. Okay, why did the finger go down? Jordan, Braun, Magic, Kareem, right? Duncan, Shaq, Kobe, Bird, all right? Russell, and the last one really doesn't matter to me. It's either Hakeem or it's Will, all right? It's either Hakeem or Will, whichever you prefer, all right? To be honest, considering that his team is there right now, that 10 is going to be Curry, all right? And if he wins the series, he can slide anywhere he wants between, and this is going to be weird for a lot of people because I don't value longevity if you're not winning much with it. And that's kind of why I have Magic above Kareem. Also, Magic's play style was not replicable and couldn't be, like, recreated with a lot of bigs, right? High assist numbers when you're playing a point guard normally doesn't means you don't win a lot, right? This video is kind of gonna be me about me talking about can Magic be surpassed by Curry all time, and it's gonna also be why I'm gonna have to say, greatness wise, probably not. But as a talent, I don't know. Cause like I don't know. I think if I want to be consistent, Curry has to be above them. But like that would involve me putting Curry over all the guys that I think Magic is better than. And I don't know if I agree with that. And then it becomes this whole triangle thing, and that in itself is logically inconsistent. So you see? Okay, yeah. The same way how I think Luka has been better than Curry recently in the last 2 to 3 years for the past 2 to 3 years for the most part, right? But I still don't have Luka anywhere near Curry all time. You know, you get it where I'm going. Okay, cool. Magic is 5 chips. Also, I'm not gonna debate with you on where any of those guys go, who those guys are, or anything, right? All right, you know what their resumes are. If you don't, why are you on this video? Anyway, Magic is 5 chips. Curry currently has 3. It could be 4 if he wins. All right. 15, 17, 18. Yes, he currently has 3. Okay. He could have 4 if he wins the series. Is no finals MVP. Magic has undoubtedly more than 0. Obviously. I'm not quite sure how many MVPs Magic has, but I think it's 3. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 3. With that being said, Curry has 2 back-to-back MVPs, which Magic never did in his career, to my knowledge. Again, if I'm wrong about this, cook me, because like these are one-take videos, and if I don't know the history, I don't know the history, bro. You just expose me. It's whatever, bro. I already said Curry's a better talent than Magic. I mean, that's pretty obvious. The way that... Oh, by the way, the arguments that Curry has in favor of greatness, because, you know, he doesn't have the chips or the, like, assist totals, which... That's cool. Curry's going to have the scoring. He's already going to have the scoring difference, so that's fine. Yeah, okay. So, let's talk about this. Curry has one of the most dominant offensive seasons of all time. And then he had one more that was more dominant than the one before. One that was so more dominant than the 2015 season that it could have been an that it could have been a most improved player award on top of it. That's how crazy the jump from 15 to 16 was. And people already had him regarded as one of the better players in that season, right? The fact that people thought he leapfrogged Braun, who hadn't fallen off yet, right? And that time was crazy. Were those people wrong? I mean, at the time, who could tell, to be quite honest? It was 1A, 1B type shit, which is crazy, right? Especially because Curry was only producing on the offensive side of the basketball, which is, again, not unironic, which is, again, weird, because I value defense too, but my top 10 all time really does not take that into consideration. Because if I valued both sides of the ball, right, that heavily, then yeah, a lot of players couldn't be in the top 10. Like, for example, Russell couldn't be in the top 10 because his offense is fucking awful. And I just mean in comparison to like literally everyone else. I'm sure his offense is fine, and that if he played in a more offensive-oriented era, he would have had a lot more of a deeper bag, or tween as he wants to say, right? But like that didn't happen, right? But I'm also sure that he would be a defensive monster in this league. I know that. That's not debatable. He would probably one of the greatest rollers to the rim and all of that shit, right? Like, he'd be like a DeAndre Jordan on fucking steroids. Prime DeAndre Jordan, by the way. Not the washed up version that we have now. Be a fucking problem, alright? He revolutionized the game. That's not debatable. The fact that he was giving Wilt, who was dropping like 50, who was averaging 50 fucking problems, is something to be talked about, alright? Right? I can't have Magic that high, right? If I value defense that much, because Magic was... I'm not saying Magic was a fucking cone on defense, but in comparison to like fucking Braun... damn, I'm about to get demonetized like motherfucker. In comparison to like Braun, Jordan, obviously, your Tim Duncans, your Kobe's, like, those guys are great on both sides of the basketball. Magic is not one of those guys. So when I'm arguing that I think Curry should surpass him as the greatest point guard of all time, he already really has a case that he can make it up there. So it's really crazy, because honestly, Magic to Kareem is so whatever to me. I just have to have Magic above Kareem for consistency stakes, to be honest. But like, Honestly, Shaq could be up there one day. Kobe could be up there. I don't have Kobe up there most of the time, but some you could convince me some days. It's up in the air. People's opinion change all the time. There are some times where I think LeBron is to go, and then I'm looking over because of what he's doing right now, and then I'm like, prime Jordan claps though, right? Like prime LeBron is right. Prime LeBron is like they're so close to each other, right? And by the way, I didn't even tell you which one was which. You just assumed. That's your fault. Because there were like 10 minutes of the video. Okay, so what is Curry's argument for the greatest of all time? Because obviously Magic has the things. We also didn't really see him fall off because AIDS happened, right? Which unironically saved his legacy in the same type of way that us forgetting the Wizard Wars year saved Michael Jordan's career. And him retiring twice also kind of did that. The illustrious 6-0 did that for him. Now anyway, going back to Magic, all right? Magic's 5 chips are amazing. Curry revolutionized the game of basketball. I don't want to be that guy, but the way Magic was passing, sure, it was amazing and it was great and it led to one of the most beautiful offenses of all time for that era, by the way. I just wanted to be clear. And it really made, and it was really crazy because no one could actually replicate it. But the same thing could be said with Curry's game, which is also impeccable. Curry already has an argument for one of the greatest scorers of all time, if not the greatest scorer of all time. I think if you're debating him between him, Michael, and this argument should have Shaq in it, but if we're just talking about perimeter players, by the way, then these are the guys, right? These are obviously the guys. They're just, when it comes to putting the ball in the basketball, the ball in the fucking hoop is crazy and good as possible. These are some of the most elite. This is one of the most elite players of all time. Right? Okay. The way he's dubbing KD, a lot of people think is one of the greatest scorers of all time when Curry's name doesn't get mentioned sometimes is crazy when, quite frankly, it shouldn't be like that. Curry has the scoring titles, this is the same type of vein as Magic has the assist titles, except no one was competing with Magic because he was that good at passing. No one should be competing with Curry, but sometimes Curry just doesn't want to put up that many points because just doesn't want to. Also, Curry's doing these points things in his sleep. Yes, Magic was getting those passes too, but I'm assuming he's also trying to the same degree that Curry is trying to get those points, right? By the way, Curry revolutionized the game of basketball, and I was going to get back into that point, but let's get into it right now. Let's be real. Before Curry started shooting the ball this exceptionally well, the consensus of basketball was completely different, right? Look at the 2014 Spurs. They're a complete oddity at that time period. But now when we look at it, that was really a prototype to what the Warriors did. The small ball heat that LeBron had played for, that was a prototype for the Warriors. And you know what helped popularize that system almost as much as their defense? Their amazing repertoire on offense. And that's only possible due to Curry. Curry has one of the greatest off-ball movements of all time. He's arguably one of the most skilled players. He is one of the most skilled players of all time. If we're having a list of just skills, and by the way, this even works in favor of the tween Hezi gods arguments because, yeah, Curry got that tween on him. Curry got that cha-cha slide into a 3. Curry got them 2K moves, bro. He has a bag, as they might say. He has a repertoire of moves that are just so elite that it's crazy. His movement off the ball is amazing. His shooting is amazing, obviously. And unlike Harden, he didn't sacrifice his mid-range game. He still has one of those, just lethal. He has a floater. How many of you guys have tried to imitate a Curry floater? And by the way, you shoot threes because of Curry. No one was shooting threes before because they weren't as cool. Fadeaways were cooler. Now threes are crazy. The entire offense of the Houston Rockets in 2018, that wouldn't have been possible without Curry revolutionizing the three-point basketball because no one was going to take it to the extreme like that. Sure, the analytics majors weren't even being taken serious enough yet for that argument to be made. Spacing matters so much, and it mattered before, but now, instead of it just being like oh, dude, it's just you just slap it onto a slasher, and you shoot around them with shooters. That used to be the scheme. Or they can't double my big man now with like the Dwight Howard, Orlando Magic. No, now everyone needs to be able to shoot on the basketball court, including your center. The entire argument that we were having for a lot of point guards being in the most dominant position in the league was built on the fact that Curry revolutionized the point guards again. Curry made combo guards popular. Now, half of that is true and half of that isn't true. Combo guards would have probably came to prominence anyway, but let's be real. The traditional version of a point guard that we were used to before Curry was a more Chris Paul-esque point guard. And the fact that I'm talking about Curry in a light of Magic and not Chris Paul is absurd. When Steph was drafted, no one could have seen this for him, right? He already has impacted the game of basketball, at least offensively, in a way that's so crazy. The fact that people have to pick him up from 40, his gravity alone, which is crazy to say, there are people sending off-ball doubles to him. With Magic was just a proficient enough scorer to make his assist work, right? No one looks at Magic and goes, "Oh, he's one of the greatest scorers of all time." He was a great scorer because of his passing. And his passing was only as effective as his scoring. And his scoring was effective enough to make his passing really shine. That's not the same thing with Curry. Curry's hockey assist might be just as valuable as Magic's actual passing. And by the way, Curry's no slouch with passing either. Is he on the same levels as Magic? No. But is he a slouch? No. He's still one of the greater passers as well. And his willingness to give up the ball is also something that a lot of point guards had to learn the hard way. 17 minutes into the video. So what am I telling you? Curry is already a top 10 of all time player, all right? That's what this video will probably be titled. And since we're 17 minutes into the recording, 17 minutes plus, I'm going to tell you the most important thing that I'll ever tell you in this video. I'm going to need you to like and subscribe. And if you want to dislike the video, you got to like it anyway. And you're going to comment in the comment section what you didn't like about my video so we can talk about it, all right? Like people. Other than that, everyone have a good enough day, I guess. And then, yeah, I'll take my break. I'll stop recording and I'll upload this, all right? Bye.